I'm so excited to finally do one of these videos. I'm going to be ranking the horror icons in a tier list, and yeah, it's showtime. Let's start the list off right with Freddy Krueger, one of the most recognizable horror icons of all time. He has the fedora, the burnt skin, the sweater, and the glove, and the personality and charisma on top of it. People that have not even watched any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, they know who Freddy Krueger is. You've got the 1-2 Freddy's coming for you. People know that he is the dream demon and that he kills you in your sleep. Now, personally, I should rank him a little low because when I met Robert Englund, he tried to take my fucking eye out. But I hold no grudges. Freddy Krueger is absolutely S tier in my opinion. Next one is going to be Jack Frost. Now, I like the movie, the 1997 movie. I grew up with it. I actually own it on Blu-ray, believe it or not. But there are too many great horror icons on this tier list for me to put him any higher than D tier. Next up is Mama's Boy, Jason Voorhees. Another recognizable horror icon. He has the hockey mask, he has the machete, which is actually Kill Kill Mama, but everybody knows that. Even people outside of the horror community, when they hear that, they know Jason's coming. I love the Friday the 13th movies, but for me personally, I don't like them as much as other people do, but I still think that Jason is great. So I'm putting him A tier. Next one up is going to be the Fisherman from the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies. I like the design of the killer. I even like the first two movies. The third movie is pretty garbage, and I think that's really the reason why we didn't get more of the Fisherman, was because the third movie was absolutely terrible. So basing it off of that, the first two movies, I think he's okay. I don't really love him, but I don't hate him. There's too many cool horror icons on this list to put the Fisherman any higher than D tier. Next up is my boy Michael Myers, The Shape. I love the Halloween movies. And the reason why I love Michael is specifically in the first two movies, he is an average size human being that is capable of great strength, and he's very stealthy. Whenever he has you, it's way too late. There's no running away. Michael emerges from the shadows and will stealthily kill you, and he doesn't stop. I love Michael. I love the Halloween movies. In my opinion, there's no other spot that I could put him than S tier. We have Chucky, Charles Lee Ray, played by Brad Dourif, who does a fantastic job as Chucky. Such an iconic voice and laugh for the character. I feel like people outside of the horror community, people that don't even watch horror films, would know who Chucky is if you showed them a picture of him. So, an iconic character. I like the Child's Play movies, and I love the TV show. Cannot wait for the new season. I'm going to put Chucky at B tier.
This tier list is fucking trash.
The next one up is going to be Pennywise. Now, I grew up with the 1990 miniseries, and I love that movie. Holds a special place in my heart. Tim Curry will probably always be my Pennywise, but I really did like the 2017 movie. I thought Skarsgård did a great job. I like Pennywise, but I don't love him. So for me personally, I'm going to put Pennywise at C tier. Up next is a man from Texas, Leatherface, or as Sally said it in the new movie, Leatherface. We've got him. He is going to be probably up there for me. In terms of a horror icon, Leatherface is very recognizable, very unique. He literally takes people's faces and wears them. I mean, what else do you need? I'm going to put Bubba at A tier. We have Harry Warden, or The Miner, whichever one you prefer, from My Bloody Valentine 1981. One of my favorite 80s slasher films. Holds a special place in my heart because I grew up with it. I love the movie, and I love The Miner. Left a long-lasting impression, especially the ending of the movie. I was like, what the fuck? So, very simple design. You have the mining outfit, pretty much a pickaxe. He uses other stuff throughout the movie. But very simple design, but he left a mark. I'm going to put him at B tier. We've got Jigsaw himself, John Kramer from the Saw movies. For me, I don't love him. I like him a lot. I think he is a great character in terms of being proficient. He is definitely deadly and intelligent. But for me, I had my moment where I was really into the Saw franchise. I'm not really as into it now as I used to be. So I'm going to put John Kramer, don't kill me guys, at C tier. Let's go back to the 90s with Ghostface. He scared the shit out of me whenever I was younger. I'm not going to lie. I grew up with the Scream movies and I love them. A very unique concept, the killer communicating through the phone. Kind of reminds me of Black Christmas, which we'll get to later on. Ghostface, I think, is awesome. I love a whodunit kind of horror film, and that is obviously the big appeal to the Scream movies, and I love it. I'll always get down with Ghostface. I'm putting him A tier. Up next is the Tall Man from the Phantasm movies. Angus Scrimm does a great job playing a menacing mortician. I love the Tall Man. If you've watched the Phantasm movies, you know why. He's a man of very few words, and he doesn't stop. He's always coming after Mike, and I love the movies. I love the Tall Man. I'm putting him S tier. We have a character from my favorite zombie movie of all time, Day of the Dead, and that is Bub. Bub is such an iconic zombie. I love the performance. Probably my favorite zombie of all time. So I'm putting him at B tier. Following Bub is Tarman from The Return of the Living Dead. Now he is just a creepy zombie. Very dark looking appearance, very slimy, and his movement creeped me out as a kid. And yeah, the scene where, he says brains, very creepy. I'm putting the Tarman at B tier. Here's one that I think had a lot of potential, and that is the Wishmaster, played by Andrew Divoff in the first two Wishmaster movies. I felt like he had a very good performance and a very distinct voice for the character. But the other sequels, he's played by a different actor. Doesn't do a terrible job, but the movies are, they are what they are. So I like the Wishmaster, but I felt like he fell short of his potential. So I gotta put the Wishmaster at D tier. Up next, we have Angela from the Sleepaway Camp movies. Shout out to Felissa Rose, the original Angela. I love the first Sleepaway Camp movie. Took me a couple watches to really understand what it was, but I love that movie. A pretty good 80s slasher. And Angela is a unique horror icon, so I'm putting her at C tier. We've got the Xenomorph from the Alien movies, and I love the Xenomorph. I think the design is absolutely fantastic. Such a sleek design for a creature, and yeah, just a perfect killing machine, the perfect organism. I love the whole concept of the Xenomorph. I'm putting it at A tier. We got Billy from Black Christmas, and whenever I think of Billy, I think of the phone calls. Very outlandish, very vulgar language that he used towards the females in that movie. He was definitely off his rocker. And then I think of the main end of the movie, which still gives me chills to this day. He is a great one-off horror slasher. I've got to put him at C tier. Next up, we have the Maniac Cop, Matt Cordell. He reminds me a lot of Jason. He's just going to do whatever the fuck he wants to do, and nobody's going to stop him. I think that he's a little underrated, and I would probably put him at C tier. Up next, we have the Leprechaun, played by Warwick Davis. He does a fantastic job. I love the Leprechaun personally. The movies can kind of go up and down in quality, but the Leprechaun himself is always giving you creative kills. He's always hamming it up, and he's always rhyming. I think the Leprechaun is so damn entertaining, and one of my personal favorite horror icons. I am going to put him at A tier. We've got the Candyman, played by Tony Todd, which I think he does a fantastic job as the Candyman. He has such an iconic voice, and the presence that he has throughout the first Candyman movie is unmatched. He is just so elegant with his words, but very menacing. I don't know how to explain it, but Candyman is fucking awesome, and I feel like he doesn't get the respect he deserves. I'm putting the Candyman at A tier. Up next, we have Pinhead, played by Doug Bradley. I love the first four Hellraiser movies. After that, they kind of lost me, but there is no denying that Doug Bradley is a phenomenal actor, and Pinhead is one of the most memorable horror icons of all time. The Hell Priest lands himself at B tier. Up next, we have Patrick Bateman. Christian Bale does a fantastic job as Patrick Bateman. He can go from normal, completely normal, to batshit crazy, just like that. I love Patrick Bateman. I love American Psycho. So I'm going to put him at B tier. We have Madman Marz from Madman, which now he's going to kill me. I said his name too loud. But the movie Madman is a pretty good 80s slasher flick. I've always enjoyed it. I like Madman Marz, but he's pretty good. I can't put him above some of these other ones on the list. So I'm going to put him at a solid C tier. We've got the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. Now, I love the first two movies. I grew up with those. I do not like the director, Victor Salva. You can go fuck off. But in terms of the creature, I think the Creeper is such a unique horror villain because he has the regeneration power. Just what the fuck? Whenever I first seen that, I was like, wow, he can regenerate. Every 23 years for 23 days, he eats and kills. I think that's really fucking cool. I love the Creeper. I'm going to put him at B tier. Up next, we have Jerry Dandridge, played by Chris Sarandon, in the movie Fright Night from the year 1985. This is one of my favorite vampire films and favorite vampires of all time. When I think of 80s vampires, he is at the top of the list. I've got to put him at B tier. And I've got to follow that up with David from The Lost Boys, another great vampire flick and another great vampire. I've got to put him at B tier. We have Herbert West from the Reanimator movies, played by Jeffrey Combs. I really like the first Reanimator, but I've not seen the other ones, and it's been a few years since I've seen Reanimator, so I can't really judge Herbert West as a character freshly, but I think I'm going to put him at the C tier. We've got Angela from Night of the Demons, a great and fun 80s horror film. I think this right here kind of reminds me a little bit of Evil Dead. I love the design of Angela, the demonic version of her. Reminds me of like a Deadite. I think she looks epic, and she is a very cool horror villain, so I'm going to put her at C tier. We've got Pumpkinhead. Now, I grew up with Pumpkinhead. I watched the movie growing up. My dad was always talking about how Pumpkinhead was awesome, and it wasn't until later on in life that I found out that people don't hold those movies or Pumpkinhead to a high regard. I like Pumpkinhead. He might be a little underrated, but I'm going to have to put him at the C tier. We have only 2 left, but I'm only going to pick 1. Now, who am I going to pick? If you know me, you already know the answer. I'm picking Ash from the Evil Dead series. Ash goes from being a dork in the first Evil Dead movie. Evil Dead 2, he says enough is enough, and in Army of Darkness, at that point, he is a full-fledged badass. And the TV series, he's just my favorite horror icon of all time. No question, Ash is going S tier. So here is the finished tier list. I know a lot of people are going to agree and disagree about certain placements, and that is completely okay. This is just my personal opinion. You should go down below in the comments. I have put the exact same tier list I used in the video. Go create your own. Only one more question. Do you like this video? If you did, do you want more? And if you want more, leave a comment down below and like the video, because that helps tremendously. Thank you for watching.